It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to a bite-sized episode of Film Rage. On these episodes, we will focus on one film and one film only with special guests this time around. We're talking about the 1986 John Carpenter movie, Big Trouble in Little China. With, you guessed it, the nerdy photographer himself, Casey. We seem to be doing a lot of John Carpenter, Kurt Russell movies with you there, Case.
Weird.
How'd that happen?
Personal love of mine. I didn't want to go with just one. I couldn't pick just one of these films to go with. I think they're all connected to one another.
Alrighty, sir.
Not just because it's the same two major collaborators.
There you have it. This is a special Film Rage episode only for patron members. As part of your membership, you get special episodes, weekly updates on what Film Rage is seeing for the week, and much more. Thanks to all our subscribers, you are helping this independent podcast bring content we hope you love or rage over. We don't really care. Just do one of them. Now, let's get to raging. Casey, the nerdy photographer. Also, for those of you who listen to us regularly, he is the god of rage.
Like the voice of God, I'm the voice of rage.
The voice of God rage.
Voice of God of rage?
Yeah.
Voice of God of rage.
Yeah, all of those above. So, Casey, this is our third in the Carpenter Russell trilogy. And we've had some fun with those, and our patrons have probably been very happy about it. Tell us a little bit about why you chose the trilogy, a little bit more deeper.
I just think that like these films, like these John Carpenter, Kurt Russell films, like really have an influence on the genres that they are. Like this, John Carpenter's, in my opinion, he's very hit or miss, and I think that these films, for me, are hits, and because they influence the genres that they're in, moving forward. He really with these broke some ground. And whether you love the movies or hate them, they definitely influenced people in the genre moving forward.
Nice. Well, it's, you know what, Carpenter's known as a groundbreaker. If my memory serves me correctly, he was the $1 million man for a while, right? Where they thought you can make a movie for $1 million. Anybody else hear that about him?
No. Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that his?
He was like a Kevin Smithy type of, or low budget. Like he can make a really good movie for not a lot of money.
Yeah, I seem to remember in particular one of Murray's favorites, They Live. I think that was one of the ones they said, can you make this on $1 million? And he went, damn right I can. I'll hire Roddy Piper. I'll hire a wrestler. They'll do anything to be in a movie.
I thought
he was really good in it.
Whether or not he was excellent. I always kind of wondered if Kurt Russell was originally intended to be that character.
Oh, maybe.
Because there's...
I
felt like a little similar to the writing, but Roddy Piper is so fucking perfect in that movie. And I think this movie influences that. That's where the humor of this film, of Big Trouble, definitely influences the humor of They Live, because there's a lot of humor in They Live.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, there sure is. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Big Trouble in Little China. In a comedy, action, sci-fi love story that only John Carpenter can provide, where Kurt Russell is his most charming and probably douchey at the same time. It starts out as a kidnapping and then turns into the campiest, wackiest adventure with the 80st FX. So funny, you can't help but laugh at it for most of it. On top of that, the acting is so completely awful by all the tertiary characters. So bad. And the repulsive Kim Cattrall is actually one of the better actors in it. So what does that say to you?
The hell she is.
This film, I think, is Carpenter's way of introducing Chinese culture to the American people. Which, you know, I have some people that watch this that go, this is probably one of the most culturally insensitive movies that's ever been made. So I'm like, if this was your idea of introducing Chinese culture to America.
As someone who never saw it before, that's all I could think about the whole movie was, oh my God, the amount of people they're offending.
People like what's his name on his tour bus. This does
Egg Shen.
yeah. James Hong is so freaking awesome in this. His dialogue alone is worth the price of admission. This does suffer from a bunch of things, though. Let's first talk about the elephant in the room. I've already kind of alluded to it and even mentioned it, and I'm sure everybody else from Film Rage will probably talk about it, and that is the repulsive Kim Cattrall. Kind of ruins the movie a lot.
A real lot. Every minute of her on screen, it kind of made me normally and naturally queasy just watching her about how bad she actually can act. Or should I say not act. And the first 40 minutes, it's trying way too hard to create some kind of cohesive story, which makes it pretty hard to enjoy. But just like a fine wine, as this film ages, it just keeps getting better. More wacky and completely ridiculous, with kung fu girls, sombrero super dudes, and of course, Lo Pan, the great and powerful James Hong. And Kurt Russell with his douchey tough guy routine is so funny because he's just a complete idiot. And I think he was like the Bruce Campbell before Bruce Campbell. He's just like, could you find another way to torture him in this? I would say this is one of Carpenter's so bad it's funny type films. So, if you can't get behind the humor of it, it's going to be hard to really enjoy this. I like this a lot. I remember seeing this in cinemas when it came out, and I've seen it probably a few times. I also own a copy of it, but I haven't seen it probably in 20 years. And I think, unfortunately for me, I'm going to say the more I watch this, the less I like it. I didn't get to a rage because I still have so much that I like about this film. It was just a meh for me, unfortunately, on my, whatever I say, 7th or 8th watch of this film. But it's fun and it's wacky. So I'm anxious to see let's see what Casey has to say, because he is a true love of this trilogy.
I do. And I think that I agree with you. First of all, it's problematic through modern eyes in a lot of ways. There's some issues. I don't think that this was intended as an introduction to Chinese cinema or culture. I think that this is John Carpenter's take on a kung fu movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like he wanted to do like an American kung fu movie, and there are some problems with the way that it's presented. Problematic is probably the best way to put it. But what I will say is his cast, the Asian cast of this film, are fantastic.
The Asian cast are awesome.
Yeah.
James Hong. Oh my God, is Lo Pan, and it's just like I still say, like, sometimes when people will be like shocked, I'll be like, Lo Pan? Did you say Lo Pan? Like, which Lo Pan do you mean? A little old man or the 8 foot tall?
It's the same Lo Pan.
The same Lo Pan. And Victor Wong as Egg Shen. I think I still like to think that Victor Wong's character in this film and in Golden Child are the same person.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they probably are.
Yeah.
They probably are. I mean, they probably are supposed to be the same person, but it's like, he's so like. And what I love about the humor of this movie is that Kurt Russell's character, Jack Burton, is such the antithesis. Carpenter created the badass Kurt Russell, right? We've got badass Kurt Russell in Escape from New York. We've got badass Kurt Russell in The Thing. Kurt Russell is now like established as like an action
star, yeah,
actor, like whatever. And then we turn it completely on its head, completely subvert that view of Kurt Russell, and make him the idiot. Like, he's just like, Jack Burton is like the complete antithesis of every other Kurt Russell character. He talks all the time. He has no idea what he is doing. He tries to lead things, but he can't. He's constantly screwing up. and then just out of sheer luck, like it's all in the reflexes. Like just that at one moment, like he like saves the day because you're not expecting it at that point. Like you're really not expecting Jack Burton to save
to do anything like, right. Yeah.
He keeps speaking about himself in the third person, and nobody has any idea who he is. That's the best part. I think it's like, you know what Jack Burton says in a moment like this? Who? Me. Jack Burton. Me. And everybody's like, who the hell are you? It's such the antithesis of what they've previously created.
I'm actually loving Casey talking about this movie more than I love the movie.
You're making me think like, well, I should have liked this more, but I still didn't.
The moment when he's talking to Lopan, he's like, "Are you crazy? Is that your problem?" I mean, it's just I personally find Jack Burton to be one of the funniest characters. He's
very charismatic. Can't take away from that.
And in the Carpenter universe, do we call it a Carpenter universe?
Carpenter.
There's so much going on in the Carpenter universe. Carpenterverse, yeah. There's you've got serial killers, you've got vampires, you've got ghosts on Mars, you've got
Elvis.
There's so much Elvis. There's so much going on in this world that John Carpenter's created. It's I don't know. I think that what really makes this movie for me is you've got two things. You've got it's the seriousness of the Asian actors and how good they are. I mean, even the three storms, the three guys, he calls them the sombrero superheroes. They're like the three storms. It's like these guys who are all really good martial artists. They're really good. And then you've got the idiot of Jack Burton, in there that just makes this, who's the foil to everything else that goes on in the movie. I think that's for me, that's what makes this something that I continue to enjoy for that. Like, Jack Burton's inability to actually do anything.
To do anything is like happenstance. It's like, oh, guess what? It just happened to work out.
Yeah, it's like I said, it completely subverts the character that they created for the Kurt Russell superhero-ish, like quality character, the loner. He's the exact opposite of everything that they created before.
You know what? I think you saw this in theaters when it first came out. Yeah, I think again, This is one of those movies. If you grew up with it, it's gonna help you to have a warmer heart to it for sure.
It's one of those movies that whenever they're like a I don't know. There are a number of movies that if I see if it's like playing, I will just watch it from wherever. And this is one of those movies.
Yeah,
because like it just. I don't know. It just always makes me laugh.
I think of it
Speaking of Tango and Cash.
Speaking of Tango and Cash. Well, that's a good segue to hear what Murray thought of this, because this is the first time Murray saw this movie.
Yes, I heard about it, never saw it before. And as the guys know, I am a huge fan of cheesy 80s movies.
Yes.
I pretty much live in the 80s.
He does. He hasn't left the 80s.
As much as I love cheesy 80s movies, and I do, this one was a bit too much for me. Kim Cattrall was terrible. And Medium Round was definitely no short round. I called him Medium Round because I didn't know what his character's name. I couldn't remember it, but he reminded me of Short Round. It was just an adult size. It was very hokey. It was disjointed. It was loaded with special effects and just a completely ridiculous plot. As you alluded to, it actually had a very similar plot to The Golden Child, which was released roughly the same time. In fact, John Carpenter was so worried about that he pushed up production by about 6 months. So this came out before The Golden Child. And they both did about as well at the box office.
Yeah, this was a bit of a bomb in the box office.
Yeah, so was Golden Child. But I enjoyed that one because Eddie Murphy. But
I want the knife.
I mean, for me, Eddie Murphy was box office gold in the 80s, but that's another issue.
Yeah, that'll be another discussion for another time.
This was actually John Carpenter's last studio film in the 80s, after he had so many problems with the head of the studio doing this one. Just the lack of promotion. They didn't know how to promote it. They got no play at all, and that's why it bombed. Prince of Darkness and They Live were actually independent films. There was the two he released after that. So yeah, he pretty much had it with the studio after this one because they basically screwed him over. But they also originally wanted Jackie Chan in one of the roles. I'm assuming his sidekick guy or the guy who was the main guy.
He was Wang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But of course, he was
happy with
worried
that.
about his English, so maybe he didn't ask him or he turned him down. I don't know. But this was also released just before Aliens, so they were promoting Aliens at the same time. So obviously, they didn't do jack shit about this one. But yeah, it was a romp. I mean, there was a lot going on in this movie. It just, I don't know. It just, well, as Bryce is fond of saying sometimes, I don't know what's going on. Which is me the entire
Enjoy the
movie.
ride, man.
I don't understand what's going on. He says that quite a bit sometimes. So that was me for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, but I'm like, what? Then they're doing what? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
Just out with it. Don't be afraid to speak your mind, Murray.
You're not gonna like it, but yeah, I'm gonna give this a rage.
All right then.
In the John Carpenter verse, this was probably my least favorite of anything I've seen.
There you go.
Ugh. Really, Ghost of Mars.
That I've seen. I haven't seen all 18 of his films. I've seen about half.
He's not a hardcore Carpenter fan
No,
like us.
of the ones I've seen,
Okay.
this is my least favorite.
All right. So Big Trouble in Little China. I love James Hong,
Yeah.
but yeah, he couldn't save this. I'm sorry, but Kim Cattrall has the rare ability to make any movie seem so much worse than it actually is with her mere presence. Mondo's become Mez and Mez become Rages. I remember liking this film so much when I first saw it 3.5 decades ago. There are a few laughs to be had, but there's also Kim Cattrall. So that makes this film that would have been a meh, a Kim Cattrall rage, and there's just no getting around it. I could sit here and talk about it forever, but every single time her stupid face was on the screen, it just killed it for me. And it shouldn't have, because you know what? I shouldn't be, because there's so much not terrific acting in it, and it's not even not terrific acting because the Asian guys are great. But it's intentional. But hers doesn't seem intentional. She's just bad. And I can't get around it. And she makes me angry to see her on screen. It doesn't matter what she's in. So this movie literally never had a chance. And I'm ashamed to say it, but it didn't because she's in it. And I can't get over that.
So, okay, Murray,
You
who
leave
is
Jack
she
Burton
married?
alone.
Who is she married to at the time? Because it
No
sounds
idea.
like Carpenter has this thing where
Has
people
this
that
thing?
are married to people,
Well,
they get in the
I'm
movie
pretty
together.
sure Kurt Russell wasn't married to his wife from
Goldie Hawn?
No, I'm sure he's with Goldie by this point.
Oh, okay.
But
you sure maybe he didn't
she
date-
should have been in it.
Goldie.
Goldie would have been great.
Goldie
in
should have
this.
been in
Goldie
this
Hawn would have
movie.
been great.
I
That would've
know.
been awesome.
Unlike some of the other times we've talked about casting in some of his movies, this is one where I think a lot of people could have played a lot of different
A lot of
people,
different roles.
except for James Hong. Like
Except for
nobody
the
could have
Asians.
played James Hong, but James
they
Hong.
definitely got it right with all the
Or
Asian
egg.
actors, but all the
Yeah.
Caucasians were terrible.
Yeah, it's like, and no offense to Kurt Russell, but they could have replaced him with anybody at that time. I'm thinking.
Oh. Wow.
I'm sorry. I mean, he was typical Kurt Russell, is what I would say. I was feeling
Leave Jack Burton alone.
I was feeling the computer wears tennis shoes or flubber days with Kurt Russell in this one. It was like, not that I was disappointed because he is so funny in this. To
Yeah,
watch him
We're not
act.
back
He saved the movie. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much.
Oh, really? It wasn't James Hong? Because that was what
no,
usually
Yeah,
saves
that's,
it for me.
that's all it.
I just know him from Tremors. He was like one of the funniest parts of Tremors.
Who, James Hong?
I think that's the one. The old guy who had the restaurant, not the evil guy, right?
No, that's
That's
not.
Ed Shen.
That's exactly.
Whichever that one was, the
That's
guy who had the
Victor.
restaurant. That's the guy.
That's
right?
Victor Wong.
Yeah.
Victor. Yeah, sorry, Victor. Yeah. No, the other guy was cool
Victor
too.
Wong.
He's been in a lot of movies too, but
He's been in the most movies of anyone ever.
yeah, I think I
Hong.
saw that
Yeah.
recently.
Has the longest film resume of anyone. I think it's like 500 movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's made so many movies. Yeah. But
it's like 550 at this point.
he's been but he's so old too. He's like in his 90s.
He's 80, 90 years old now.
Yeah, he's 90. I think he's 90 something. Ray, where's your fact
And he's been
check?
doing movies since he was a teenager.
Yeah.
And he's been awesome since then too.
Yes.
I think
Well,
his
pretty much
first-
whenever
I
they
think
need a authentic Asian character, they call him.
Just they want an
Him and Jackie
iconic,
Chan.
They just want an awesome actor. They call him.
What was
Yeah.
his name? James
Yeah.
Hong.
James Hong.
James Hong.
Yep.
And Victor Wong plays
Victor
Egg
Wong is the
Shen,
other guy.
who's the
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. Victor Wong is the guy I'm thinking of because he was in Tremors.
Yeah,
Yes,
455
he's
credits to be
400.
exact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
And-
I remember when Everything Everywhere All at Once came out, they mentioned that he'd been in like
yeah,
Plus,
And-
he's been everybody's favorite episode of Seinfeld.
exactly.
Cartwright!
I don't have a favorite.
Cartwright!
He was born in 1929,
You mean
so he's
Costanza?
actually
There you go.
94.
that-
So yeah, he was
96
90 when he made Michelle Yeoh's movie. So
Yeah.
yeah, he was already old.
Yep.
94.
I can't wait
Yeah,
till.
he's,
Go ahead, Case.
I said he's an old man. He's been in a lot of stuff. Even Balls of Fury. He also has no qualms about what the movie is.
No.
Oh,
It's like,
he'll say yes to
He will be
everybody.
in-
my name's on the
he will
check.
say
I'm
yes
here.
to anyone.
Yep.
Right, but he will give it his all.
Oh, there's no question.
He gives it. Like whatever the movie is, he is in there and he
Yeah.
is giving
Yeah.
100%.
100% James Hong.
Yeah, and he's great. And I also love Victor Wong, who plays Egg Shen, because I think he's just like he also has that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he was the one from Golden Child as well.
Yep.
Like he's playing the same character in both movies pretty
Basically, yeah.
much. But the 7 demon bag, you know, and like, it's when he gives him the invulnerability potion, and everybody's just sort of like riding down on the elevator. Like, I feel really good about this.
Yeah.
You're bringing up all these moments that were all great moments in this movie. So why didn't I like it?
Because Kim Cattrall was in
I
it.
think he didn't like it because it feels like 2 movies.
Maybe.
Honestly, I think that the problem.
Yeah, maybe.
It feels like there's the kidnap plot part of the movie, and then they go in and they rescue all those girls from the thing, and that feels like it's its own movie
Yeah.
on one side, and then you get the supernatural movie
Yeah.
that comes after that.
Yeah.
Like there feels like there's like 2 parts.
It was odd.
Which it makes it kind
I
of
think
makes it
that-
wacky do because it's like so serious the first part, even though there's the comedy in it, and then it's like it gets to that point in the movie, and it's just like he said, you know what?
It gets
Let's just get
totally
fucking
wacky.
crazy. Let's go fucking crazy.
Exactly.
And
That's like that's when like John Carpenter's weed kicked in. He's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, man, this is gonna be.
this is gonna be so awesome, dude. Let's
Hold
blow
on.
that guy's
Hold
head
on.
up. Let's blow that guy's head up. That's so
His head's
awesome.
just gonna inflate like a balloon. Yeah,
But you know,
And,
to your
like-
to your point in other cases with Carpenter, what I liked about this actually a lot was that he doesn't explain anything. Like it's like there's this whole, you know, Chinese cultural thing that's happening, and that it's like there's these different magics, and then there's all these things, and this is like you could go on for probably days and weeks and years trying to research if any of this stuff is real, but it doesn't matter because if you go back, and maybe to your point earlier too about this film wanting to be his kung fu film, right, is that they have that kind of stuff in Hong Kong kung fu movies too, right? Like where you're paddling the zombie or they're battling like a vampire or whatever it is, right? And it just makes it fun
They
because
just throw different genres all together. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a big mishmash of stuff, and like you said, there's no explaining it. He doesn't explain anything. It's like you are in the world, and that's it. I'm just showing you He shows. He doesn't tell. He just like that's it. Like, and that is one of the things I love about him as a director. Even in the movies that I don't like, it's the same thing. He doesn't try to explain anything. Like Prince of Darkness, he doesn't really. Like, he gets a little bit of like the physics explanation of things, but like like that's just the characters talking. It's not like we're gonna like really sit down and give this huge, I don't know, narrative thing. He doesn't want to like waste time with
stupid plot ideas.
Narrative.
And
exposition.
yeah. Yeah, this is like if you're going to cast Alice Cooper in a movie, it's like you don't need any explanations.
That's right.
He's
Just
in
do
the
it.
movie. It's going to be fantastic. He's like, Alice Cooper is the reverse of Kim Cattrall. It's like a movie that could have been just okay. You put Alice Cooper in it, and it instantly becomes a Mondo.
It instantly becomes something you want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that it doesn't instantly become a mon.
Wow, it did for me.
Yeah, I think
Wayne's World 2.
I
is
was
not a
about
mon.
to say. Actually, he was in the first one. I don't know if he was in the second one.
I thought he was in the
The second one was Aerosmith.
I thought the first one was Aerosmith.
No, the second one was Aerosmith because they were doing Wayne stock in the second one. The first one was they
I can't believe that
They
they
went
know
to see
this
Alice
much about
Cooper
Wayne's
at a
World.
concert.
That's
Alice
what
Cooper
I.
is the
because it's
second
Wayne's
movie.
World. No, the first one he went to see Alice Cooper's concert and what's his name? Rob Lowe was
In
stealing
Milwaukee.
his woman. Yeah, then Rob Lowe was stealing his woman.
And that, you know what?
Little
That
Walker.
sounds like maybe Casey will be coming back in the future.
We should do
to
a
talk
Wayne's
about
World.
Wayne's World
That's
1
right.
and 2.
We should do that.
Is what I think might happen.
Hey.
Or maybe we'll do the Alice Cooper Collective. Every
There you
movie
go.
Alice
Everything
Cooper's
he's
been
ever
in.
been in.
Two of the guys from this movie, from Victor Wong, who plays Egg, and Dennis Dunn, who's Wang, are also in Prince of Darkness.
There you go.
Yeah, well, that's because it's an awesome movie. So,
Okay.
is there anything that's missing that anybody hasn't said that they want to get off their chest about Big Trouble in Little China?
I hate Kim Cattrall.
Don't remake
I just
it.
hate her.
Don't remake it.
Don't remake?
Isn't that too late? Haven't they already done it?
No, there was talk about
They were
doing it with
talking.
The Rock.
Okay.
Having The Rock play Jack
With the
Burke.
Dwayne
like,
Johnson. Yeah.
I really thought that they were actually making it, but I guess I was mistaken.
There was a lot of The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
Rock the
Said it
Dwayne
numerous
Johnson, yes.
that he wanted to make, much like he kept saying he wanted to do Black Adam.
He
And
wants to
really kind
remake
of put it all-
everything. I can't remember what movie he was thinking about remaking.
Doesn't The
now
Rock
with-
just get what he wants? He's a superstar. He's the only living
think it's-
movie star in the world right now.
I think that
I think
is
John
that is
Cena's
going
up there
down.
too.
No, he isn't.
John
He is.
Cena and okay, we're going off topic, but I'm going to say it right now. John Cena and Dave Bautista are the actors that The Rock
Yes,
wishes.
that's
He
true.
That's irrelevant to the fact that The Rock is the only living movie star in the world right now. You put his name above a movie and it sells tickets, unlike anybody else in the world. There's no one else.
You know what?
I'm not saying it's
Ca-
right.
Casey,
I'm just saying it's fact.
There's no sense arguing with him. This is the same guy that thinks Ben Affleck can act. So
Greatest actor of our generation.
yeah, so it's like
That is,
there's no.
by the way, that has
there's-
nothing to
there's
do
no-
with the price of tea in China.
in Big
Little
Trouble,
China?
Little China, in Little China.
Big Trouble.
That's right. Which is a perfect segue. Now, Casey, is there anything else you need to say? Because Bryce had his fair share with Kim Cattrall isms.
I like I said, just don't remake this. This is one of those things that it's cheesiness and whatever its glory. I have a love for, even if you don't like it. I think that it is a product of its time. Leave it alone. You don't need to redo this in any way. I think that between like the other Caucasian cast, other than Kurt Russell, has some acting problems. I think that Kurt Russell and the Asian actors in this, like the way that they play off of each other, is just wonderful. Like everybody that he works with, from Egg to Wang to Lo Pan, I think it's just he's fantastic, and he has the best one-liners in this movie. They're terrible, like the whole "if I'm not back in 5 minutes, call the president." Like it's just like he just throws this stuff out there that you're just like, this is ridiculous. This is just so terrible. It's all in the reflexes.
It's
I gotta say, Casey, I've enjoyed
fun.
talking about this movie with you so much more than I enjoyed the movie.
nice.
It's just fun. It's just fun. It doesn't have to make any sense.
And it
And
did.
it didn't.
It didn't. You know what? I would agree with you. It was fun. I still do like this movie. I know every time I watch it, I like it a little less because at one point I loved this movie.
So did I.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, it's fun. I would say it's fun. Murray, anything else you want to add?
No, it was a lot.
That's a lot for you to take.
It was a lot to take in.
Okay, Casey, tell our listeners where they can find you and tell us something exciting that they may not know about the Nerdy Photographer.
For all of your patrons here on Patreon, you can find me, the Nerdy Photographer, on the Nerdy Photographer podcast on all major podcast platforms. You can also find me on the social medias, TikTok and Instagram and Threads, as well as X, formerly known as Twitter, at The Nerdy Photo. A little thing you didn't know about the Nerdy Photographer podcast, the little behind the scenes, is that I write everything.
Nice.
It's a one-man band over here.
Yes.
One thing, as I mentioned before, is I love that coming on your guys' show because somebody else is doing all the editing. And it's doing the editing and the marketing and the socials and all that stuff. And it's nice to take a break from that and do somebody else's podcast.
Nice. Well, our podcast wouldn't be as fabulous and fun for us as it has been for these last few years without having you on our podcast as the voice of Rage or Dare and our god of Rage. So thank you so much. So yes, thank you, Casey, for joining our special Patreon episode. Please find The Nerdy Photographer wherever you find podcasts, because you will find out just what we already know. The Nerdy Photographer is awesome. Thanks again for our patrons. We cannot do this without your help, and we are happy to know that you feel the rage. In case you want more Film Rage, find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com. Send us emails to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. Dare us to see terrible movies to fuel our rage, but no matter what you do, please, 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 please keep supporting us, because we need the money. And make us rage. That's it for this special episode. Rage on!
Rage on!